Okay, yes, guys, so I wanted to come on here real quick and do a bit of a psychology lecture about bad trading habits. And this is the single most hard thing to get over as a trader, especially as a retail trader. This is what holds every single trader back, right? Any trader who's been trading for longer than a couple months, you probably have built some very, very bad habits, right? And this is something I've realized, even being years into being trading, making payouts, having good results, there's still something that could be holding you back, right? So I'll give you my example of what 2 weeks ago I realized a bad habit that I had that I've really tried to fix these last 2 weeks because it was really holding my results back. And I missed out on a lot of risk to reward because of this one issue. And that issue was taking profit early. So what was happening with me is I'd gotten into a really bad habit of taking profit just before like my actual TP on the charts, right? So 0.1 to 0.2 risk to reward before my take profit, I was getting into a bad habit of taking profit early, right? Sometimes maybe I would have a target of a 1.5 risk to reward and I would take profit at a 1.2 because I was scared, right? And the thing is, these bad habits, the reason why they start is because they get reinforced by one time that it works out. So I believe one time, a couple months ago, there would have been a couple occasions where I had taken profit early. Maybe let's say I was going for a 1 risk to reward and I took profit at a 0.9 and then that ended up working out in my favor. So I took profit and then price reversed back to my break even. And in that scenario, it would have worked out in my favor. But long term, more times than not, that 0.9 is going to run to that 1 risk to reward, right? More times than it would reverse. So what happens when I start taking profit early is every single trade that wins, I'm leaking 0.1, 0.2 risk to reward each trade, which over 5 trades, that's an extra, that's an extra 0.5 to 1 risk to reward, which it might not sound like much, but in the grand scheme of it all, it is a lot. Like, that will compound over 100 trades. That's going to be, some crazy amount of risk to reward. So the thing which really woke me up to this is I had these set of evals, and when I trade evals, I trade them very aggressively, right? I'm risking half my drawdown on trades to make a lot of the profit target. And I was on these set of evals for way too long, like 15 trading days or something like that. Like, it's honestly impressive that I was able to keep it whilst risking half my drawdown every single trade. But I went back because I eventually ended up blowing these accounts. I was one trade from passing them, and then I made a mistake, went on a losing streak of 2 trades and blew all of them, right? But I was asking myself, how did I not pass these accounts within this time? Like, I've had so many winning trades. I've gone on little winning streaks. I should have passed these accounts. So I looked back on the P&L of the account of each day, and I realized that some days when it should have been 1K profit, I was only making $800. And then I really saw how much me taking profit early completely sabotaged those accounts. They could have been passed way earlier if I would have followed my targets for my system. So I went back through the data from when I started the challenges to when I blew them, and I added up the risk to reward. And within that time, I could have passed 2 sets of evals. 2 sets of evals if I would have let these trades run to full TP. And you might not think it's much of a difference, only that $200 difference, that 0.2 risk to reward. But it is such a big difference. And it's genuinely the difference between you passing and you failing, right? So these last 2 weeks, I've really made an effort to just let these trades run to full TP, and it's been working better. Now I'm one trade from passing the evals that I'm on right now. But when it comes to bad trading habits in general, the reason why they start is because out of bad psychology, of course, but usually it's one instance that will positively reinforce that negative habit. So for me, it was taking profit early and it working out in my favor, right? Now, there was probably also the negative experiences which further reinforced that one positive experience. So there would have been many times where price is running to my take profit, it's almost there, and then it runs back to break even, right? So that kind of gives some form, it sounds stupid, but it's some form of a PTSD in your trading. When I used to trade high risk to reward, I would be up 3, 4, 5 risk to reward in profit, almost at my take profit, and then it reverses to my break even. And it sounds stupid, but that genuinely has given me trading PTSD, because now when I'm in a trade and I'm almost at take profit but my position's at break even, I genuinely have PTSD of those trades which reversed and hit me break even. And there's nothing I can do about that, right? You need to understand that your system is going to play out. There's variance at play every single day you're trading. The result of your trade today is completely random. It's completely probability based. So this is the mindset I've really been trying to get into myself, is every single trade is probability based. So if this trade is going to reverse back to break even, the chance of it is low, but it's not impossible. It can still happen. Of course it can happen. That's why I have break even trades. It's normal for the system to do this. It's normal for these things to happen. So no matter what bad trading habit you have, the one way that you're going to beat it is you need to first identify the problem. Identify what your problem actually is. For you, it might be overtrading. For you, it might be revenge trading. It might be once you get stopped out of a position, you instantly are looking for the next position, the next position to take. You're instantly looking for a new trade when there's no new trade there, when you should get off the charts. But it's become a habit for you. You're doing it every single day. It could be you blow a challenge and you instantly buy a new one, and you're starting to look for another trade, and you're ready to take a trade even if there's no trade there. It's becoming a habit. You need to notice these habits. It's usually something you're doing every single time you trade, right? You just don't know yourself well enough, and you haven't analyzed your trading enough to realize what's actually going wrong, okay? Once you can understand these behavioral patterns behind why you do what you do and what you're constantly doing that's holding you back, once you realizing it is step one. Realizing it is the hardest part. Most people don't even realize what they're doing, okay? So if you're able to recognize that problem that you have, you're already ahead of 95% of people, I promise you. Now it's the next part of actually fixing this problem. You need to get to the root cause. What is causing you to make this problem? Is it because you're chasing the money? Is it because you have some sort of trading PTSD? Has this habit been positively reinforced one time and you're trying to chase that same feeling? Okay? You need to figure out the root cause of it, and then how do we actually fix it? And the answer is always simpler than it is to actually do. So for me, holding to full TP, it's pretty simple. It's extremely simple. You just don't touch the position. You just don't close early. You just leave it to the TP, okay? Or you have some sort of a plan of when you're going to get out of a trade, right? The answer is always so much more simple than it is to actually do it, right? It's much harder to actually do it than it is to, it's much harder to actually do than it is to do. It's simple. The fix is extremely simple. If your problem is over trading, you just don't take another trade. It's not hard, right? But it is hard to do. Okay? So you need to first identify this problem. It's probably something you're doing very, very often in your trading. For me, when it would come to taking profit, it was on almost every single trade, right? Almost every single trade, I was taking profit that little bit early, which in turn caused me to miss out on so much gain. Okay? So once you've identified it, then you need to get to the root cause. You need to understand yourself. You need to know yourself better than anyone else can know you. Maybe there was an instance where that problem was positively reinforced. Then you need to fix it. How are you going to fix it? How are you going to fix your overtrading? Maybe you're going to use a lockout feature. Maybe after you take a trade and that trade hits TP or stop loss, you get up and you go for a 30-minute walk. Okay? Maybe your problem is revenge trading, well, you can use the same thing. Lockout is the easiest thing to do, but you should learn to manually not have to take another trade. Maybe your problem is you close early when you're in drawdown because you're scared of taking that loss. The answer is simple. You just let it run to stop loss. See, for me, I've never had a problem with closing trades early in drawdown besides like at the very beginning. But for me, it's like if your trade's in drawdown, you let it run to your stop loss. You have that there for a reason, okay? And I had to realize that as well. For my TP, I have that there for a reason as well. So just let price run to it. And the thing is, even if you're getting results, you can still have these small leaks which are causing you to give away profits and become less profitable than you could be. So even though I was still getting payouts, still passing evals, I was having this leak, right? I could have made so much more over this time if I didn't have this issue, okay? So it's a simple but hard process. Identify, find the root cause, fix it. And the thing about fixing it is you have to make a conscious effort every single day. Because these habits, you've been doing them unconsciously this whole time, you need to make a conscious decision every single day until it becomes a habit, until it becomes a positive habit of following your system. So what I did is I wrote on a note, and I keep it on my desk right here, saying you hold your trade to full TP, okay? You need it somewhere in your vicinity so that you don't forget about it, okay? So that's all I really have to say today about bad habits. Lock in and actually figure out what your bad habits are because they're holding you back, okay? Lock in. I'll see you guys in the next video.